Hi, Pierreville. Hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. How you doing? The 5 strangest mysteries of the Australian Outback. I'm very excited to react to this. The Australian Outback is really what most people, I feel like, think when they think of Australia in the first place, you know? Like, I myself, I definitely thought about the Outback when I thought about Australia before learning so much more about Australia, really. But still, of course, it's a major component to Australia. In fact, it's the biggest component to Australia. Look at it. It's huge. By the way, I did want to say in that video yesterday, I see your guys' comments debunking a lot of what was said. So I acknowledge that, and I understand. Anyway. Shadow Matter. Check them out. Link down below. Let's do it.
The Australian Outback is a remote, vast, and sparsely populated area that spans 5.6 million square kilometres, or 3.5 million miles, making it almost 22 times bigger than the UK. In such a huge area, it's easy to see why it can take hold of one's imagination. Many stories, books, movies, and...
It's crazy that you could just get lost out there and probably no one would find you for, like, ever. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's a really stupid, that felt like a very, like, dumb, blonde American thing to say. But, you know, it's true. You know, you get dropped in the middle of the Outback, you're donezo.
And legends have taken a hold of the public's
There
conscience.
should be a whole, like, you know, Lost. They need to do it again, but the plane crashes into the middle of Australia.
And with such a rich history of stories, the strangest ones stand out the most.
Oh boy.
From strange lights that stalk you in the cold desert night, a
The
mysterious
Northern Lights.
man-shaped figure that no one can explain.
Wait. The Northern... You guys see the Southern Lights, right? Yeah. Yeah, the Southern Lights, obviously. I mean, that's obvious, but I wanted to make sure.
To a lost reef of gold so plentiful it could make you richer than Elon Musk.
Oh my God, richer than Elon Musk.
These are the 5 strangest mysteries of the Australian Outback.
Except the facts of the matter is if you dug up all that gold, it would cause a supply shock, and it would no longer... Gold wouldn't be worth as much anymore.
Reef of gold so plentiful it could make you richer than Elon Musk. These are the 5
At least if you tried to sell it.
strangest mysteries of the Australian Outback.
Ooh. I like this channel already. Go check them out.
Number 5. The Marree Man. The Marree Man, or also known as Stewart's Giant, is a modern geoglyph constructed in 1998 under mysterious circumstances. The Marree Man, so named because of its close proximity to the small outback town of Marree in South Australia, 700 kilometres north of Adelaide. The figure is 2.7 kilometres or 1.7 miles tall.
Jesus.
With a
I thought he was going to say around. Tall? It's 1.5 miles tall. That's unbelievable.
perimeter of 28 kilometres or 17 miles, extending over an area of about 2.28
Wait, the perimeter's 17 miles?
kilometres or 17 miles, extending over an area of about 2.5 square kilometres or 620 acres. The figure is of an Aboriginal Australian man holding a boomerang. It was first spotted by a charter pilot in June 1998. He states, "It was so big I assumed everyone would know about it. But when I landed back in town, no one had heard about it." He goes on to say that the town...
Isn't that kind of funny? I don't know. There's something philosophical about that, you know, the fact that if you're on the ground, you can't see this giant thing right in front of you. Gigantic thing right in your face. You have to go way up in the sky to see, to even know it's there.
Townspeople
There's something to that. You can write a poem about that, maybe.
thought he was delirious as he tried to explain the epic proportions of the geoglyph, saying that he
I wonder what his other arm, like, what was the other arm doing? Because it looks like it's been lost.
spotted it from 6,000 feet in the air. Later, some mysterious faxes appeared addressed to local businesses and later the media. They inevitably led those interested in the strange figure on a sort of strange treasure hunt, which the faxes promised more information. Some of the clues ended up in Dorset, England, buried near other giant geoglyphs, like the CERN giant. But alas, the trail went cold and the clues stopped coming. Today, no one has claimed authorship of this giant mystery.
Wait, so is it still there? Like, how is it even? What is it made out of?
And it remains.
Like, people do this over here in the States, or aliens do it. I don't know. I don't know. But in cornfields, press down the corn. But I don't see any corn here.
Unsolved. Number 4. The Min Min Lights. The Min Min Lights, or ghost lights of Australia, are some of the strangest phenomenon to occur in the outback. The lights are said to appear as glowing orbs, almost always at night. They appear to hover above the ground, usually a few hundred feet from the witness, and also appear to have a mind of their own, with most witnesses saying that...
how would you know if it's a few hundred feet? That feels like, I guess if, I don't know. It'd be hard to get perspective on how far away these mysterious lights are.
They follow or stalk them. The Min Min Lights get their name from the now abandoned settlement of Min Min in Queensland, Australia, where they were first witnessed in 1910 by a stockman riding his horse near an old graveyard. As he rode down the highway, the light chased him until he reached another town and disappeared into thin air. Many people have had similar accounts and say that they have been chased by them as they travel by car, initially thinking it could be the headlights of a motorbike, only to realize that they are floating too high above the ground for it to be so. Also, the lights will appear to dance around and behave erratically. A few theories have arisen to explain this strange phenomenon, ranging from uranium ore deposits releasing gas, inverted mirages, and more frighteningly, UFOs. Today, one can even go on tours to experience those lights for themselves in Boulia, Queensland, where they offer a tour of the history and first-hand accounts called the Min Min Encounters. Today, this
So you can just go encounter it anytime you want. It's just a guarantee. You just go and they're there. It's hard to believe.
Mystery remains unsolved.
Because if that's the case, you'd think we could figure out what they are.
Number 3. Lasseter's Lost Reef. As with many of the
to be honest, that sounds like the biggest tourist trap in history. Min Min Encounter. Maybe it's real though, guys. I don't know. 45-minute laser and animatronic show. Oh, that sounds cool.
The Min Min Encounters. Today, Lasseter's Lost Reef. As with many of the mysteries found on this list, this one is open to interpretation. Since its purported discovery more than 120 years ago, Lasseter's Reef, a fabled gold-rich outback quartz vein, has eluded both fortune hunters and researchers. The fabulously rich gold deposit was apparently discovered by a Harold Bell Lasseter in either 1897 or 1911, depending on source. On the 14th of October 1929, Harold Bell Lasseter wrote a letter to the Kalgoorlie federal member Albert Green, claiming to have discovered a vast gold-bearing reef in Central Australia 18 years earlier, and that it was located at the western edge of the McDonnell Ranges.
Right by Alice Springs.
Several years prior, Lasseter had unsuccessfully tried to raise funds in order for an expedition to this fabled gold reef. It was only in 1930 that Harold Lasseter managed to raise interest during the worst economic recession of the 1930s, otherwise known as the Great Depression. He provided the story to the
I've heard about it.
Australian Workers' Union. He states, "As a young man of 17, I rode on horseback from Queensland to the West Australian goldfields, during which I stumbled across a huge gold reef, somewhere near the border between the Northern Territory and Western Australia. The reef was claimed to be laden with gold and measured some 7 miles, or 11.3 kilometers long, 4 to 7 feet high, and 12 feet wide." In 1930, Harold Lasseter managed to secure £50,000 in private funding to begin the expedition. This included a motorized vehicle, an aircraft, experienced bushmen, a gold prospector, an engineer, a Governor-General's aide, and several other men. The group endured logistical difficulties and physical hardships, including the loss of the plane. Many of the group, disbelieving the claims, departed Lasseter, leaving him alone in the desert with just a camel. 1 year later, a search for Lasseter was conducted. They found Lasseter's decomposed body at Winter's Glen and his personal effects in a cave at Hulls Creek, which included a diary. The diary tells of Lasseter's last moments, which include losing his camel shortly after the group disbanded. He was met by an Aboriginal tribe who helped him, but eventually he met his demise due to desert blindness and malnutrition.
What is desert blindness? This one's weird. It's like not, it's going in all sorts of different directions. Like, where's the gold? Okay, so do we need to go get the gold, guys? It sounds like they didn't do it. A temporary condition caused by excessive exposure to UV light, often from the sun reflecting off surfaces like sand, leading to eye pain, redness, sensitivity. He died from that?
A carved-out tree now marks his grave. Decades later, and many expeditions more, Lasseter's lost reef remains unfound.
We gotta go find this, guys.
Number 2. The disappearance of Azaria Chamberlain. Probably the most famous or infamous case on this list. The incident in question involves the disappearance of 9-month-old Azaria Chamberlain. In August 1980, Azaria's parents, Michael and Lindy Chamberlain, planned a camping trip in Northern Territory, but on the night of August 17, Azaria vanished from her family tent at Uluru. According to Lindy's story, a dingo entered the tent that Azaria was sleeping in and took and attacked the child, running off with her into the dark desert night. The initial police report supports this claim, but however, the Northern Territory Police were dissatisfied with her claim. What later followed was numerous court cases against the Chamberlains, and even landed Lindy 3 years in prison. She was later released after a British tourist who fell to his death at Uluru. His remains were found in a dingo den, along with Azaria's baby jumpsuit.
What? Oh my God. The hell? You can't just, maybe I need more details. Have I heard this before? This rings a bell, but you can't just send a mom to prison because you think her story is weird. Right? Or her little baby just died and you send her to prison? I mean, what? I guess there's probably a lot more details I don't know. That is incredibly sad.
Whether or not the dingoes did take the baby or the jumpsuit remains questionable. Today, Azaria's body has never been recovered, and this remains an unsolved case.
That's so sad. Wow. How aggressive are dingoes? Dingoes are wild animals that can be unpredictable, but they are generally not aggressive toward people. They can be if they feel threatened, trapped, or food is involved. I mean, that's a pretty unbelievable story, but I don't know. I guess crazier things have happened. Huh? Poor girl.
Number 1. The Flora Station Mystery. Probably the most haunting tale on this list. 2 boys, 16 and 17, vanished from their Outback cattle station. The discovery of their bodies months later only deepened the mystery. James Annetts, 16, and Simon Amos, 17, separately answered ads in 1986 to work as jackaroos, or cattle station hands, for those not familiar with the term.
I was not. Okay, jackaroo.
The workplace or cattle station in question was Flora Valley Station, about 120 kilometres east of Halls Creek, with a population of 1,500 in West Australia. The 2 boys were from city life and not accustomed to the harsh, remote conditions of the Outback. James was from Griffith in New South Wales, and Simon was from Adelaide in South Australia. When the boys arrived at Flora Station in West Australia, the cattle industry was in decline, and the station management had been cutting costs. Most of their tasks involved bore runs to check that windmills and other equipment were still functioning. On Wednesdays, when the boys would drive to the town of Flora Valley, they could get some release from the remote isolation by socializing with the townspeople when they went to pick up their mail and supplies. But on the afternoon of Monday, December 1st, 1986, the two boys did not reply to their twice daily radio checkups. The station owner visited the house where the two boys were staying and found their Datsun ute missing. No one knows where they were headed or just where they were going.
This is kind of like what I was saying. Getting lost in the Outback. Not good. Not good.
Day aerial search of over 100,000 square kilometers.
But he said this is the scariest one. I don't know. I mean, this is very, very sad. But the little baby getting taken by dingoes, I think, tops the list for me.
Failed to find anything. In April 1987, a bulldozer driver found the abandoned Datsun ute in the sand dunes about 500 kilometers southeast of Halls Creek. There were clear signs that the boys had tried to jumpstart the car. An SOS had been formed on the vehicle's roof with spanners and an arrow made with two branches and a star that pointed north. Further investigations revealed the boys' remains. The pair walked about 18 kilometers and made a camp where Simon Amos was found with a gunshot wound in his head.
Oh, wow. That's just horrible.
James Annetts walked a further kilometer and died, but not before scratching a last note to his family into a water bottle. The message on the lid reads, "James, my fault. I always love you, Mum and Dad, Jason, Michelle, Joanne." And on the handle was written, "I found peace."
Wow. That gave me chills. I'm not going to lie. Damn, it's amazing how something so, so small as a note, some kind of communication would, no matter what, as the parent of these boys, you would be forever changed. But getting that note would bring you some amount of closure, right?
Both.
Even though it's horrifying. It's actually horrifying.
Boys had left.
And I honestly just can't imagine the amount of fear these boys felt. That's so terrible.
Their wallets, cash, and letters from their families at their homesteads. In addition to the marked difference in decomposition of the boys' bodies, human blood was also found on James's hat that was not from him or Simon. Decades later, this remains an unsolved mystery.
I'm sorry, what?
Both boys had left their wallets, cash.
I need to go back just a little bit, because after this note, I didn't know there was more to it.
It's written, "I found peace." Both boys had left their wallets, cash, and letters from their families at their homesteads. In addition to the
Okay.
marked difference in decomposition of the boys' bodies.
Are we trying to say there's foul play?
Human blood was also found on James's hat that was not from him or Simon. Decades later, this remains
in memory of Simon and James, who tragically perished on the edge of the great sandy desert south of Halls Creek in November 1986, a sad loss not forgotten by the people of the Kimberleys.
Unsolved mystery. Tell us what you think about these mysteries in the comments below. We'd love to hear them. This has been an episode of Shadow Matter. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And
I like these Outback scary stories. I'm sure these are told around the campfire in Australia. But these are also just some truly tragic events that actually happened. So that's incredibly sad. Whoa. Check out Shadow Matter, link down below. Thank you guys for watching. Stay safe out there in the Outback. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.